Hi, I'm Bernard Nomberg with the Nomberg Law Firm in Birmingham, Alabama, and I want to take a few minutes to discuss the different levels, and there's 4 of them, of appeal for Social Security disability claims. When a person initially files for Social Security disability benefits, they do it with an office that is closest to their home. It could be in their county or their city or the next community over, depending on how small or how big your community is, and it's easy to find the proper office. Assuming you filed the proper paperwork, you'll get a response back. Either you're approved for benefits or you're not. And if you're denied, then you have a limited period of time in which to file an appeal. And the first level of appeal is a request for reconsideration. Now, what that is it stays at what is called the Disability Determination Services, the DDS level, and it's performed, the appeal is reviewed by a medical consultant and an examiner who were not part of the initial decision. There's a whole host of reasons why the initial applications get denied. A lot of times it's because not all the proper medical evidence has been filed in time for it to be reviewed, and that's something that we stay on top of, and we get involved on the very beginning with our clients. The claims examiners on this level and medical consultants had nothing to do with the initial decision, and they're barred. The original people who were part of it are barred from making a deciding decision or input in the reconsideration. DDS grants about 5 to 10% of all reconsideration claims. If your claim is denied again, then you will get a denial notice and an explanation that probably will look similar to the original denial that you received, but please know you've got a limited period of time to go to the next level of appeal, and we call that step 2. Now, this process that I'm describing also goes for people who are they're receiving currently their disability benefits, but then get a notice saying that they no longer meet the criteria for disability. So it's not only just an initial application, but for people who've been getting benefits, they too, if they get a denial or a stop, a cessation of the benefits, then you can also file for reconsideration, and it stays at that DDS level. The second level that you would appeal to in both of these situations is for an administrative law judge hearing. Now, you've got 60 days from the date you receive the denial to appeal. The appeal process itself is pretty standard. It doesn't take a lot of time. You likely, at this level, if you don't have an attorney, you likely are going to need one at this point. And during that time period, it moves up to the Office of Hearing Operations, OHO is what they call it. It used to be called the ODAR, the Office of Disability Adjudication and Review. And about 50% on average of the applicants who take their appeal to an ALJ hearing will hopefully be successful. There's a lot more that goes into each of these, and I'm not getting too deep into each level. I'm just giving you an overview of what each level represents. Now, let's assume, for this purpose, you lose at the appeals, the disability hearing, and an ALJ issues an unfavorable decision. Then you have a decision to make. You can either start over with your whole process, or you can appeal to the Appeals Council for their review of your case. Now, only about 2 to 3% of these cases are successful, so you really have to analyze whether it's something that you want to do. And the Appeals Council randomly selects cases for review. And typically, some of the examples about how they can dismiss your case without review unless it finds one of the following: abuse of discretion, meaning that something happened at the hearing that was not proper, that should have gone on. The ALJ's decision is not supported by substantial evidence, and some other reasons related to that. The Appeals Council basically looks for a flaw in the ALJ decision before they grant review. For this reason and some others, most people, the only real reason to file a request with the Appeals Council is to exhaust all administrative appeal avenues, what you must do before you sue the Social Security Administration in federal court. And that's the 4th level, moving to a federal court review with a federal judge. And those are not with juries, it's just with the judge. As you can imagine, only about 1% of these cases become successful, where they have to really find that, and if you don't have an attorney, you really should have one at this point. They really are just looking at procedural issues, but a lot of times they will look at the factual issues to see whether or not it should have been granted. This is not an easy area to go through, but the bottom line is if you lose at one level, you can likely appeal to the next level. Sometimes you make a decision whether you want to start over, and every case is fact specific. If you have questions or concerns about these issues or about your case, just give us a call at 205-930-6900. Nomberglaw.com is our website. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and tell us why. And if you didn't, we'd like to hear from that as well. Subscribing to our channel will ensure that you get future videos. We also can be found on Facebook and Twitter.